Thank you. Thank you everybody for coming as well tonight and showing your support. I'm really moved that so many people have come. Especially my parents who've come all the way from Cheshire, and my partner Callie who's come all the way from Cheshire. My sister who's come from London. She worked for years writing her own book about my experience called English Shaun, which is out there as well on Kindle. All the body combat people, all the karate people, us, and the yoga women. Yeah, and Mike Hot Wheels, who is the closest thing to family I've got here tonight for taking his time. If you talk him into spinning some more after I finish, perhaps be late for work tomorrow morning. Does anyone have any questions at this point in time? I'd be happy to answer anything anyone would care to ask.
Sure. It's the perennial question whenever I watch these kind of documentaries, whenever I read about criminals, why not get out when you're on top?
Why didn't I get out when I was on top? Doing drugs over the years had scrambled my decision-making processes. I was in my 20s, the drugs, the money, it was all just going to my head. You know, there was a sense of arrogance there because we would joke, we were above the law, they're never going to catch up with us, they're never going to stop the movie. You know, and everyone around me was doing the same drugs. So we were all reinforcing each other's negative behaviour. There were no sane people around us to put the brakes on. You know, I take full responsibility for what I did, and I deserve to be punished. And it's done me a lot of good. It's sent my life in this whole new positive direction. You know, I spend my time speaking to schools across the UK now, telling them my story in the hope they won't make the same mistakes that I did. But when you're in that zone and you're living that lifestyle, I was addicted to that lifestyle, you know. It's hard for you to come out of it, and I didn't see what was coming properly, you know, so I didn't have that foresight to guide me. Yeah. Anyone else? Anything? Okay.
Has the film caused a reaction in terms of opening people's eyes to Sheriff? I mean,
yeah, the film went out in America last month to almost 10 million people as the premiere. I woke up to 500 emails, and people were just outraged at the jail conditions, you know, because America champions human rights all over the world. But how can they be allowing this stuff to happen? They gave that statistic about 62 people who died in there. A lot of those guys were mentally ill people who were murdered by the guards. The guards even murdered the blind men. All this is documented on the internet. I've even got videos on my website of them murdering people in the jail, mentally ill people. People who previously supported the sheriff contacted me and said, you know, we had no idea, he's out doing all these publicity stunts, we had no idea this was going on, and we no longer support him. So my goal was, when I started my writing, I never set out to be an author or anything, my goal was to try and get the conditions changed for the guys still in there. My book came out in America a couple of years ago, and I was hoping that was going to raise public awareness, but it came out the same week that Osama bin Laden was killed. So I lost all my news stories and it never got anywhere. But now this is just way outdone all of that, and it's changing public opinion. The sheriff's re-elected every 4 years, so we're hoping that this is going to be instrumental in helping him get booted out. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. Okay? Anyone else? Sure.
When you give your talks to schools and things, I presume quite a lot of the kids are kind of very drugs and stuff, and they want to legalise it. You get questions on that. What do you say?
On the legalisation of drugs?
Yeah.
I say, they don't really ask that. I just go in and say, I'm here to tell my story in the hope you don't make the same mistakes I did, and it inspires you in some ways. And I get emails, almost every day I get emails, tweets, and Facebook messages from the students, and they say, we don't listen to our parents, we don't listen to our teachers, but because you've come in and just told us your story, you didn't preach at us, it's made us see what drugs and crime can lead to. I even have parents of students requesting to meet me, and they say stuff like, our kids come home from school and they won't even speak to us, you know, look if we get a grunt out of them. But after hearing your talk, they wouldn't shut up for days, and it was the first time we could sit down with them and talk about drugs. And you know, I send all these emails to my parents as well, and it's, you know, helping restore me in their eyes. So that's what I'm going to keep doing. We have Mark is a teacher who can perhaps add a little bit to that.
Well, I was going to ask, the kids at the school you came to talk to where I work,
Yeah,
they're still talking about what you said 8 months later. But I've got to say, it's really hard hitting what you talk to them about.
yeah.
And they're up to it, but it's, I thought it was harder hitting than that. Does part of you wish that this had shown more of the reality of what went on there? It's a snapshot, isn't it?
Because it was shown in prime time family viewing time in America, it couldn't have that harder edge that maybe more sensitive people would have reacted to.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But the books have got all that detail. Yeah. Okay, yep, Steve?
Shaun, what age group do you normally speak to when you go to schools?
Well, it depends, you know. I go in some of these areas like Hackney, Croydon, and they say, we want you in speaking to year 9, 8, because by years 10, 11, they're already dealing with the drugs. The parents are dealing drugs, they don't have role models. But other areas where the kids are more sensitive, then it's years 10, 11, all the way up to 6th form. So it depends on the teacher.
So you start them as young as year 8, that's what.
I don't speak to year 8 very often. I was down in Dover speaking to year 9 last week. And I do tone it down for whichever age group it is. I'd say my average is year 10 and 11. I do a lot of 6th forms as well. Yeah.
Have you encountered much resistance from parents about informing their kids to do with like the realities of dealing drugs and crime, or have they been?
I've not encountered any resistance at all. All I've encountered is parents who've sent me emails saying this has had a really good effect, you know, on my child. Yeah. Sam?
I want to book you once every 3 months to come to the Academy of Hard Knocks. We're going to be very busy.
Well, thanks very much. Sam runs a martial arts school for young people to keep them from getting involved in drugs and crime. Very inspirational story, similar to my own. Yeah, thanks, Sam. Cheers.
I need you up and down the country.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else?
Do you find it traumatic to relive the experience when you go into schools and things? And also, will there come a point where you say, this is it, it's done now? Do you get what I mean?
Do I find it traumatic going into the schools and will I
reliving
reach
the
a
whole
point
experience
where I
and
feel that I can't do it anymore?
Yeah.
It's like I relive it, yes. But seeing the reaction from them tells me in my heart that this is a better way to be repaying my debt to society than the prison sentence. I see the looks on their faces, you know, even in the rougher areas where they're all striding in, you know, looking at me like, who is this guy? You know, and by 10, 20 minutes in, you know, they're on the edge of their seats. And the teachers, you know, keep me coming back to the same schools and tell me what kind of effect it's having. So I feel like that was my calling in life. My parents, they relive it more than me, you know. That's why they don't want to answer any questions tonight. And I have to do the right thing in life for me and for my family and for all these young people that I'm speaking to. So I'm really happy that I'm going down that road with the schools. I don't foresee me stopping it because I'm feeling like I'm reliving it. You know, maybe I'll get so old that the kids won't relate to me at some point. But for now, they relate to me, so I'm going to keep doing it. Yeah.